I always wonder, like, I think one of the advantages that, someone in your position has is that, just that ability to identify with players and probably, at this stage, I would think you've probably seen every, I don't want to say conflict, but, I think so much of coaching is managing the ups and the downs, but you've
Mhm.
seen probably, all those situations from both sides of the table. Like, what do you think players, at the end of the day, what do you think players want from coaches?
You know what? I think players, they want help. They want help being the best they can be on the ice. They want help feeling comfortable in the room and as part of the team. They want help, um, you know, enjoying the game for what it is. Sometimes they need help away from the rink, as we all talk about. They're maybe there's something going on away from the rink, and they just need someone to chat with. So I think as a player, you're so focused on playing. Um, there's ups and downs and there's expectations, but I think really in the end, you just got to enjoy the game for what it is. And if you have a coach that they trust and that they're willing to talk to, and they feel like you can help them get better in whatever category that is, I think that you've got something, and players then I think can respect you and know that you actually care about them and not just about the wins and the losses.
I can recall an NHL scout saying to me one time that, for, you've got, the one percenters, the Crosby, the McDavids, but,
Mm-hmm.
beyond that, for every player that makes it in the National Hockey League, there's probably three players that were equally as talented that didn't
For
make
sure.
it.
For sure.
And generally the reason that one player makes it is because they were willing to be flexible, adjust their role. And, I look at your career, over 1,000 games played, prolific scorer in junior, but it seemed like you were, and I mean this in a great way, like you were a bit of a Swiss Army knife. It seemed like you played a variety of different roles. Over, I believe, 16 years in the National Hockey League.
Mm-hmm.
How did you how did you learn to adapt and be flexible and maybe acquire different tools for the different roles you played?
Well, I think you said it. Words adapt and flexible and things like that. I think that especially at the highest levels, it's so difficult, and it's hard to express to young players how really really good these guys are at the NHL level, even at the American League or even at Western League or college. I mean, they're really good players already, and then as you get higher up the levels, they get even better. So I think for me, I was fortunate that I had opportunities around good coaches, good teammates to be able to say, "Hey, this is what we're going to need to do to get over the boards." I always tell our guys, find a way to get over the boards. If you're a centerman that can play the wing, then you get a chance to get over the boards. If you can win face-offs, you get over the boards because we need you to win a draw on a down
Love it.
5 versus 6, 6 versus 5. Just find a way to get over the boards. If you're a defenseman and you can a good shot blocker, you know what? You get over on the PK if you're early on getting ice time. So I was very fortunate. I had great people. Roger Neilson was a guy that, in the point of my career in the NHL, gave me an opportunity, taught me how to be a good checker at both ends of the ice, piggybacking off what I learned with Dave King with the national team, and just realized that, hey, this is what, if I want to stay in this league and continue to play in this league, I have to adjust. And you said it absolutely right. There's players that aren't willing to adjust, that don't continue to play. But if you really love and are passionate about the game and want to continue to play it at a high level, the ability to adjust and adapt along the way, not only your own game, but I think the game league wide, I think is a valuable asset.
How did you adapt when you went from coaching in the National Hockey League then? And I know you coached your son with the Dallas Stars youth program. You also
Yep.
went to the
Yep.
Okanagan Academy. Like, what was that transition like, and how did that make you better?
You know what? It was really interesting to me because I thought, when you coach your son, you're doing it out of just love. You want to support them and help them along the
Yeah.
way. And so, and then going to the academy in the Okanagan, I just thought, what am I gonna? I'm gonna coach, but what am I gonna learn here? And what I learned more than anything was that how different every kid is, and how each kid is not the same, and that you have to really be aware of how you can help each individual player and each individual kid along the way. And we know that at higher levels, certainly at the NHL level, that each athlete is different and they need Some need video, some don't. Some just play no matter what. And but to be able to get a better understanding of that as the kids are growing up and transitioning from young kids to teenagers to men, just having perspective to realize that everybody is not every player is the same, and that every player needs different things from a coach, and to be flexible there. And sometimes you got to ask, like, what could I do to help and help them along the way.
One of your old teammates, Mike Needham, from the World
Mm-hmm.
Junior team,
Yeah.
was coaching up in Okanagan, and he was, when I coached in Penticton, he was a volunteer coach. And man, I feel like just it, every conversation with him was full of wisdom, and had a chance to catch up with him earlier this year.
Yeah.
What did you learn from Mike and some of the other coaches? A lot of great hockey people have rolled through the city of
Really good.
Penticton.
Yeah, really good, really good. It was a fantastic experience. A lot of really good people. We were used to have a coach's lunch every week where we'd all sit down and just kind of talk about our teams and what was going on. But again, I think it's adapting and learning along the way. I think that I think you have to continue to learn. I think at whatever level that is, if you're moving up the ladder or down the ladder a bit. Be aware that there's still lots to learn, and that's okay. It doesn't mean you're not a good coach. It just means that you're trying to get better and continue to learn and take advice from people that have been in situations, not only high up the ladder but lower on the ladder, because they have experience that is very valuable and good perspective on the situations.
I think momentum and chemistry. They're tough to put your thumb on it.
Mm-hmm.
But in 1996, you guys with the Florida Panthers put that in the bottle. You go to the Stanley Cup Finals. In hindsight now, like what happened there? Like who does the credit go to, or how did you guys bring it all together?
Yeah, it was fantastic. It was a
Bet.
great, the best memories of being a pro. There's no doubt about that. That group was a special group, led by Roger Neilson again, and Bobby Clark was GM, and Bill Torrey was president. So really, really good bunch of people. Lindy was there. Lindy Ruff was assistant
Yeah.
there. Jody, Jody Hall was my assistant. Our assistant coach here was a player on that team. We had a great bunch of guys. Really, really good bunch of people. And really felt like it was a family, and really a very, very close knit bunch. And I think deep down, I think we all felt like we were going to get there. Like we felt, hey, we're a good team, and we know what we're all about, and each of us knew what our role was, and there was no wiggle room there. We just knew that I had to do this to help Jody, and Jody knew he had to do that to help Tommy Fitzgerald, and we played for each other, and that was really a special run. And I think that'll be a group that I think stays in touch for years and years down the line, like we have already.
That's really cool. And I just wonder, like, showing up, especially, small town Canadian kid,
Mm-hmm.
showing up in Palm Beach,
Yeah.
to play hockey. Like, does that environment, does that bring you closer together, or does that make it harder to maybe kind of create those connections on a team?
I think it was a positive. I think we went from, so I got there in November of the first year. I was traded from Winnipeg. So I left out of Winnipeg.
That's a contrast.
Yeah, it was a little bit different for sure. A little change of scenery. But you know what? Again, the culture had been set already by Roger and Clarkey and all the guys that were there. And Brian Scrudlin was the captain, and all the guys that were there, that the culture had already begun. So as I arrived and my wife arrived, that we were welcomed to the team right away, felt very much a part of it. And that was just, the culture that was started there and continued there for years on end. And everybody that moved in, I think, really felt at home. Everybody went out of their way to make sure they felt at home. It was really a good experience.
If you are involved with the Minor Hockey Association that hosts tournaments or multiple tournaments, or you're a coach who operates spring tournaments, or any organization that puts on events, then you're going to thank me for introducing you to Event Connect. Event Connect makes managing and growing your sports events simple and efficient. It literally covers every aspect of the event management, from scheduling, linking out-of-town teams or visitors with hotel bookings, to capturing registration fees and collecting additional revenue, all on one platform. Best of all, it's free. Event Connect receives a small fee through its payment processor, but there is no upfront investment. I got introduced to Event Connect because several of our league and association partners began using them and raved about the time it saved, how user friendly it was, and the additional revenue they were able to generate. In fact, the feedback was so positive, we began using Event Connect to host TCS Live, our annual coaching conference at the University of Michigan. It was a great decision. I know firsthand how stressful it can be to run tournaments and events, and can't imagine going through that process again without Event Connect. If you want to simplify the process of organizing your tournament or event and tap into new revenue, then go to eventconnectsports.com to book a demo today. Don't go through the painful process of trying to run your next tournament without Event Connect. Go to eventconnectsports.com and get started now.